All our lives, we've been told to go to school, get good grades, get a good job, and you'll be set. How's that working out for you? I'm TaVona Denise, physical therapist turned life and business coach, and I'm on a mission to help you create a life you love and a business on your terms. If you want more time, more freedom, more flexibility, I can help you create it. Welcome to Breaking Protocol, the show for women in healthcare who want more. Saying this aloud kind of makes me nervous, but here goes. I think on some level, formal education has ruined us. I had a client send me a message the other day, and she said, business is not at all like school. At least in school, they taught us how to do it, then we get to practice. And I feel like I'm missing pieces, like I don't have all of the information I need. And this struck me more than many of the various messages that I get from clients and non-clients alike, because I think you've heard me say before, who certified the certifier? And that's one level. But what I think happens in schools is that schools teach us to look to others for validation and for information. And the problem with that is that it's a never-ending trap, because you never get to trust yourself. You don't get to trust your instincts, your own internal wisdom, because in many ways, it leaves us with the belief that someone else is doing it, quote unquote, right, and that they know more than you do, and that they have to teach you the pieces that you don't know before you get started. And so to that, I simply asked her, like, how did they meaning the first people, figure out the pieces? I would imagine that they just rolled up their sleeves and they got started, and they tried some things and they experimented, and they took whatever knowledge that they had, things that they had done on themselves or with family members, and they started implementing. They started working with people, and they figured out what worked. They figured out what didn't work, and then they decided what they'd do differently next time. And it makes me think, because if there was a right way, so to speak, and that right way was fixed, then protocols and technology and science would never evolve. Like, how does anyone come to the next conclusion if they don't just get started somewhere? Like, the next conclusion is built on synthesizing information by taking the information that you do have, taking the information that you do know, taking the resources that you currently have, and creating from there. And the problem with this type of thinking, that I'm missing something, I'm missing pieces, I don't have all of the information that I need to know more, is it keeps us in a space of needing more. When you think, I need more information, I need more clients, I need more money, the only result from that could be in the needing more. And especially when it comes to this space of getting started, like, think about, why did you start this business, or why did you even want to start the business in the first place? So that you could help people. And my question back to you would be, like, how does sitting back and trying to read or gain or gather more information, how does that actually help people? Have you ever stopped to ask yourself, when will you know enough to just get started? How much do you actually need to know to start helping people? I think sometimes we jump ahead in our minds. Just think, for example, of your current job. If you've been there for 10 years, the conversations that we have 10 years out of school, the level of conversation, the level of thinking is nowhere near what it was when we were new grads. So how did you get to the level of thinking and processing and problem solving that you're at 10 years out of school compared to when you were a new grad? It was by experience. It was by actually doing stuff. Were we scared? I know I was. Did that stop us from moving forward? Sometimes I did still have those thoughts. I don't think I know enough. I think they might have let me out on mistake. I passed this test, but I still don't think I know what I'm doing. And yet I was still able to help people. And I'm sure that you too have been able to help people. You were able to help people when you were a new grad. Now, were you able to help people as a new grad to the same level that you can help them today? Oh, no, of course not. You have more data points. You have more feedback. Do you have more education? Of course. Yes, there's a such thing as continuing education courses, but that's what that's for. Like knowing that you have enough right now and then getting in the field, rolling up your sleeves, actually working with people, helping them the best that you can with what information you have now, and then finding out where the sticking points are from real life data. I don't know about you, but I enjoyed learning so much more when I got out of school and I had context for what they were saying because I could pin it to a patient that I was working with. And most of the time, the self-directed learning was so much more fun than the book learning. One, because I didn't have the context, but two, because I got to direct the learning, meaning that I got to study the things that were of interest to me. I got to decide who I worked with more. So of course, when I realized that I liked cardiopulmonary, I started taking more of those classes and I got more out of those classes because I told myself that this is interesting, this is fun. And then I would go look up other things. It's the same thing with your business. And it makes me think too, that we probably would never have gotten out of school if the schools didn't have to say, okay, this is good enough to start helping people. And as a matter of fact, they let us start helping people even before we finished school. So it begs the question, going back to my client, my question to you would be, as was to her, what if you didn't believe that you had gaps in your knowledge? What if you knew that you had all of the pieces of the puzzle, you just needed to put them together? If you find yourself saying, I don't know how to coach, I need more information, I don't know how to market or sell, what if that just wasn't true? Like, what if you just asked yourself in the moment, or you just tried that question on for size? What if that's not true? In what ways are you already coaching people? In what ways do you already have enough information? In what ways do you already know how to market? In what ways do you already know how to sell or are already selling? Challenge your brain to find those. How would you feel if you chose to think this, however way you're currently doing it, whether it's functional medicine, wellness coaching, whatever your thing is, what if you chose to think this is how it's done? The point of the model, when we think about circumstances and us having thoughts about those circumstances, is to see how our current thinking is causing current results. And when you can see that, you can change it because you can also see the part that you played in it and that this is within your control. So I had a client the other day that said, I need more leads. Right? It just sounded like she was reporting the news, right? Like, oh, I just need more leads. And as I was coaching the other women in the Courage Circle, the thought occurred to me to go back and ask her, well, how many people are on your email list? Do you know how many people she said were on the email list? 1,300 people. We all fell out laughing because I'm like, I don't even have 1,300 people on my list. But when she kept perpetuating the thought, I need more leads, then she felt, I can't remember what her feeling was, but I think it was like afraid. And then she would rush around going to YouTube and Instagram and all of these different places looking for these leads that were right there. And the result is she still thinks that she needs more leads rather than nurturing the ones that she does have. 1,300 people who at some point raised their hand to say they wanted to hear from her and were still opening her emails. right? So the point of the model is to help you see how your current thinking, not the circumstance, you're thinking about the circumstance, creates your current results. And when you can see that, you can change it because you see the part that you played in it, and that is within your control. When you think that you need more information or you don't have enough information, then you can see how that will create a space of needing more information before you can ever get started. And then the question is like, well, how much is enough? Have you even stopped to quantify? Okay, at this point, when I know this specific thing or this specific amount, then I'll stop, right? Because if you don't give yourself that, you never get started and you blink your eyes. 1, 2, 3 years have gone by. So here's what I'd ask for you to do. Take a circumstance within your business. You can choose marketing, selling, coaching, the skill of coaching, right? Making money, creating content, doing Facebook Lives, pick anything. Choose any part of your business and then write down what you think about it. One of the big ones people use all the time is either marketing or selling. Let's take selling. Write down everything you think about it. Get it all out. Right until you can't think of anything else you have to say about the subject, and then look at it. When you look back at it, sometimes what I do is just take a pen and circle the circumstances. What are the facts about what I've written down? And when we talk about what are the facts, what is the truth, I mean specifically, no one else in the world would say the same thing about that circumstance. This is tricky because you might look at selling and have a thought, this is hard. I hate selling. And you might initially tell me, oh, this is just the news. This is the fact. This is the truth. This is how it is. But I know several people that love selling, that it's fun for them. So that doesn't count. I don't want you to be confused about what feels true. Also, not to be confused with what you say all the time, but really ask yourself, what parts of what you've written down are facts, are neutral, that don't have any kind of emotional charge for you? And here's another clue of how you can test that out for yourself, besides would anybody else challenge you or say something different about that subject? Think about, as you look at the sentences on the paper, where do you feel justified or right or defiant or resistant? Where do you get a little bit upset? That's the work. We think that business is about the strategy only and being told what to do and checking off the boxes, or that's what we think we want, right? But if that was true, we'd have way more entrepreneurs and way less employees. And so it's true that you do get freedom in business, but you also have the freedom to make up your mind and make up decisions and decide that the way you're doing it is the right way. This is the function of an entrepreneur, to solve problems through innovation, to make decisions. And this is the challenging part, which is why, as much as I love to talk about the mechanics of business, we have to talk about the mindset, like consistently. Mindset is not something you do one time and then you release it. I think about it like the Pareto principle. It's an 80-20 split. 20% of it is the mechanics of business. 80% of it is the mindset and what you choose to think about the circumstances in your business. And when you really get to think about that, that's a choice, that's an opinion, that's a decision, that you can decide to think something else, that's when you get your freedom. So as you go through this exercise, if you need some help, meaning if there's something that you've written that feels true for you, but you can also possibly see how it's not creating the results you want in your business, or you see somebody else that might not think the same thing about that circumstance as you, consider signing up for a momentum consultation. I will help you see how your thoughts are creating results and how to create new results. Just go to TaVonaDenise.com/momentum and we'll get you scheduled. Until next time, friends.